You can be perfectly healthy, eat all the right foods, take every supplement, and still, life may never begin. Because fertilization, the moment a new human life is created, is not guaranteed. In fact, in most cases, it quietly fails. Not because something is wrong, but because something is missing. Here's what almost nobody tells you: fertilization is not just about a sperm meeting an egg. It's about timing so precise, conditions so perfect, and cellular energy so exact, that even the slightest imbalance can stop the entire process before it ever begins. And as the body ages, especially after 45, those conditions begin to change in ways most people never see coming. But here's the part that changes everything. Once you understand what truly controls fertilization at the cellular level, you can begin to support your body in ways that most people completely overlook. And in this video, you're going to discover exactly what those hidden triggers are, and how to optimize them. Fertilization is the foundation of human life, the precise moment when a sperm cell and an egg cell fuse to create a completely new genetic identity. But as we age, our bodies don't function the same way they did decades earlier. Hormones shift. Cellular energy declines. Reproductive cells become more fragile. And the internal environment that once supported fertilization begins to weaken. What worked in your 20s or 30s simply doesn't work the same way after 45. And that's why today, we're going deeper, beyond the basic explanation, into what really happens during fertilization, and more importantly, what determines whether it succeeds or fails. Most people believe fertilization is simple. They imagine a sperm cell swimming directly to an egg, making contact, and that's it. But the reality is far more complex, and far more fragile. Every time fertilization is attempted, millions of sperm cells begin a journey. But almost all of them fail. Only a tiny fraction even reach the fallopian tube, and in most cases, only one succeeds. Now, here's where things become even more critical. As the body ages, both sides of this process begin to weaken. For women, egg quality declines. The eggs become less responsive, more fragile, and more difficult to fertilize. For men, sperm motility, the ability to swim effectively, gradually decreases. The structure of the sperm may also become less optimal. So instead of a strong system on both sides, you now have two systems under pressure. Let's make this real. Imagine a couple in their late 40s. They're doing everything right. Eating well. Staying active. Living a healthy lifestyle. But month after month, nothing happens. No warning signs. No pain. No clear reason. Just silence. Because fertilization doesn't depend on effort. It depends on precision. And here's the myth you've been told for years: if it's meant to happen, it will happen naturally. But biology doesn't work that way. Fertilization requires exact conditions, and when those conditions are not met, it simply doesn't occur. Quietly. Invisibly. Without explanation. So what's actually happening beneath the surface? Fertilization is not just a physical event, it's a highly coordinated biochemical process. Before a sperm can even attempt to fertilize an egg, it must go through a transformation known as capacitation. This process changes the sperm at a molecular level, giving it the ability to penetrate the egg. Without this transformation, the sperm is essentially incapable of completing its role. Then comes the next step. The sperm must release powerful enzymes to break through the outer protective layer of the egg. At the same time, the egg must be in a state where it can receive that sperm. And the moment one sperm successfully enters, the egg instantly shuts down access to all others. This entire sequence is controlled by one critical factor: cellular function. And cellular function depends on energy, nutrient availability, and internal balance. Here's the hidden truth most people never hear. Fertilization often fails not because there aren't enough sperm or eggs, but because those cells don't have the energy to complete the process. As we age, the tiny structures inside our cells, called mitochondria, begin to lose efficiency. These structures are responsible for producing energy. And without sufficient energy, even perfectly healthy-looking cells can fail. Think of it like this. A phone with 1% battery can still turn on, but it cannot perform. That's exactly what happens inside aging reproductive cells. They exist, but they can't function at full capacity. And this is where most people focus on the wrong things. They focus on quantity, instead of quality. They overlook the internal environment that makes fertilization possible. Now let's shift to what actually works. Because once you understand the real problem, the solution becomes clear. The goal is not to force fertilization. The goal is to restore the internal conditions that allow it to happen naturally. The first key is supporting cellular energy. One of the most powerful compounds for this is coenzyme Q10. This nutrient plays a direct role in energy production within the mitochondria. Every sperm cell and every egg cell depends on this energy to function properly. As natural levels decline with age, energy production drops, and fertilization becomes less efficient. Restoring those levels helps rebuild cellular performance from the inside. The most effective way to use it is consistently, over time, ideally taken in the morning with a meal that contains healthy fats to improve absorption. But here's where people go wrong. They expect immediate results. They take it for a short period, then stop. But this is not a quick fix. It's a process of rebuilding cellular strength. The second key is zinc. Zinc is essential for reproductive health in both men and women. It supports hormone balance, DNA formation, and sperm production. In men especially, low zinc levels are directly linked to reduced sperm quality. Sperm may become weaker, slower, or structurally compromised. For best results, zinc should be taken at a time when it won't compete with other minerals like calcium. Consistency matters more than timing perfection. There have been cases where correcting a zinc deficiency alone led to noticeable improvements in reproductive function. Because sometimes, the issue is not complex. It's simply a missing piece. The third key is omega-3 fatty acids. These are critical for maintaining healthy cell membranes. For fertilization to occur, the sperm and egg must fuse. If the membranes are damaged or rigid, that fusion becomes difficult or impossible. Omega-3s help maintain flexibility and integrity in these membranes. They also reduce inflammation, another hidden factor that disrupts reproductive function. Taking them regularly supports the body's internal environment in a way most people underestimate. Now, beyond nutrients, there is one habit that cannot be ignored. Sleep. Deep, consistent sleep regulates hormones, repairs cells, and restores balance. Without proper sleep, even the best nutrition becomes less effective. The body simply cannot perform complex processes like fertilization efficiently when it is constantly fatigued. There have been real cases where improving sleep alone led to measurable changes in reproductive health. Because at the end of the day, fertilization reflects the overall state of the body. Not just one system, but the entire system working together. This is where most people unknowingly sabotage their own progress. The first mistake is exposure to excessive heat. Frequent hot baths, tight clothing, or placing laptops directly on the lap can negatively affect sperm quality. Heat disrupts the delicate environment required for proper sperm development. The second mistake is poor timing. Many people misunderstand when fertilization is actually possible. The window is short, and missing it means missing the opportunity entirely. The third mistake is relying heavily on processed foods. These foods increase inflammation, disrupt hormone balance, and interfere with cellular function. And the problem is, the damage is gradual. You don't feel it immediately. But over time, it creates an internal environment where fertilization becomes increasingly difficult. This is where most people go wrong. They focus on doing more, instead of removing what's holding them back. Fertilization is not random. It is a highly controlled biological event that depends on precision, balance, and cellular readiness. Your body must be prepared, at the deepest level, for it to happen. Energy, nutrients, timing, and environment all play a role. And when even one of these is out of balance, the process can fail silently. But here's the powerful part. These are factors you can influence. You can support your cellular energy. You can improve your internal environment. You can give your body the conditions it needs to function at its best. And here's one bonus tip that most people overlook completely. Hydration. Even mild dehydration affects cellular communication and fluid balance. Both are essential for sperm movement and egg receptivity. So something as simple as drinking enough water consistently can make a real difference. Now I want to hear from you. Which of these factors surprised you the most? And which one have you been overlooking without realizing it? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you found this valuable, subscribe for more in-depth, science-based health insights designed to help you stay informed and in control of your body, no matter your age. Because true health is not just about what you see on the outside. It's about understanding what's happening deep inside. And sometimes, the smallest processes are the most powerful of all.